Ever wondered how a foundational ancient text could, well, revolutionize your understanding of faith and purpose today? You're not alone. Here on The Deep Dive, we cut through the complexity of sources to bring you the profound, sometimes surprising insights that truly make you well-informed. Today, we're plunging into the very first chapter of the book of Hebrews, a text that offers an unparalleled reintroduction to Jesus, especially for those familiar with older religious traditions. Get ready, because it uncovers some truly game-changing revelations.
Absolutely. Our mission in this deep dive is really to unlock Hebrews chapter 1's powerful message. We want to illuminate Jesus' unique identity, his intimate connection to God, and his undeniable supremacy over figures like the prophets and even angels. The author of Hebrews, with incredible brevity, sets the entire stage in these opening verses, and understanding these ancient insights is, well, remarkably relevant for comprehending not just historical faith, but the very fabric of our world right now.
Okay, so let's dive right into where it all begins. The author of Hebrews, whose name remains a mystery to us, immediately makes a critical distinction: how God communicated in ancient times versus in these last days. What's the profound shift being highlighted here?
What's truly striking is the contrast. Imagine trying to piece together a grand story from scattered whispers, cryptic dreams, diverse historical events over centuries. That was God speaking many times and in various ways through the prophets. It was progressive, multifaceted, and often, indirect.
Sort of like getting puzzle pieces one by one.
Exactly. But then the text declares that in these last days, God has spoken through his Son. This isn't just a new messenger. It signals a complete, singular, and direct revelation. It's like suddenly seeing the complete, vibrant picture all at once. The insight here is that God's communication shifted from fragmented glimpses to a full, unified, and personal encounter.
That's a staggering transformation, isn't it, in how God chose to reveal himself? So the Son isn't just a messenger. He's the ultimate direct conduit. But the text doesn't stop there. It paints an incredible portrait of the Son's identity, even before he came to Earth. What does this tell us about his inherent power and origin?
Precisely. The Son is immediately introduced as the heir of all things and the one through whom he made the universe. This isn't subtle. It's an immediate, emphatic declaration of his divinity and preexistence.
Okay, so he wasn't just created.
Right. He was the agent through whom creation happened. Colossians 1 echoes this, stating all things were created by him and for him. The profound implication: Jesus isn't just part of existence. He is its source, its purpose, and its rightful owner. He existed before everything.
Wow. Before everything. Now, this is where it gets really vivid. The text uses two incredibly powerful images to describe Jesus' intimate connection to God. First, he is called the radiance of God's glory. For us, trying to grasp the divine, what does that image convey?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, think of God maybe like the sun. Jesus isn't merely reflecting the light. He is the sunlight itself, the direct, full, complete manifestation of the sun's glory.
Oh, okay. Not separate.
Exactly. As John 1:14 puts it, we have seen his glory, the glory as of the one and only Son from the Father. The insight here is that Jesus perfectly and completely reveals God's nature and character. He literally radiates God's presence, makes the incomprehensible comprehensible.
So you don't have to guess at God's nature.
You see it perfectly in Jesus. Yeah. That's why early church confessions, like the Nicene Creed, use similar language, calling Jesus light from light, true God from true God, recognizing him as the direct, unveiled splendor of God.
And then the text follows that with another equally potent phrase: he's the exact representation of his being. Our source material helps us understand this with the analogy of an imprint from a stamp or a coin die. How does that further solidify this understanding?
It's an incredibly precise image. Imagine pressing a carefully carved seal into hot wax. The imprint is an exact, perfect copy of the original, embodying every detail, every nuance.
Okay, I get that.
Seeing Jesus is, in essence, seeing God. Jesus himself affirmed this in John 14, saying, "Anyone who has seen me has seen the Father." This underscores that while God is spirit and invisible, Jesus made God visible, tangible, perfectly comprehensible in human form. He isn't just a delegate. He is literally God's authentic signature, the very essence of God made manifest.
So the assurance is profound then. No ambiguity about God's character.
Exactly. Jesus perfectly represents it.
So let's distill this. Jesus isn't just a messenger or a prophet. He's quite literally God in active operation. And this divine action isn't limited to creation. It extends to sustaining everything.
Exactly. The text emphasizes that he sustains all things by his powerful word. He's not a creator who just stepped back, wound up the clock and left.
Yeah.
He is actively upholding, maintaining, preserving the entire cosmos, its order, its laws, its very existence. Think about the dependable rhythm of the seasons, the consistency of gravity. Hebrews attributes this underlying order to Jesus' active, powerful word.
That offers a profound sense of stability, doesn't it? Knowing there's an active hand in everything.
It does. And his work culminates spectacularly in him having provided purification for sins and then having sat down at the right hand of the Majesty in heaven. Sitting isn't about rest from exhaustion. It signifies a finished redemptive work, a complete victory, and his ultimate authority and honor equal to God.
Taking his seat, that speaks volumes.
It really does, about his completed work and his inherent divine status.
Now, the author makes a sharp pivot here, comparing Jesus directly with angels. For the original Jewish Christian audience, angels were deeply revered figures, often seen as powerful intermediaries. Why was it so crucial for the author to establish Jesus' clear superiority over them?
This was a really critical point for their faith. Angels were highly esteemed in Jewish tradition, believed to have delivered the law, and in some circles, they were even objects of intense reverence or, worship.
Okay.
The author needed to make an undeniable case for Jesus' supreme authority and dignity, placing him far beyond any angelic being.
Yeah.
The stakes were high, preventing Jewish believers from maybe backsliding into traditions that might inadvertently elevate angels above the sun.
Or mistaking them for the ultimate voice.
Precisely. This wasn't just theological hair-splitting, it was foundational. Where should their ultimate trust and allegiance lie?
And the text begins with a bold declaration, almost a challenge. So he became as much superior to the angels as the name he has inherited is superior to theirs. What kind of superiority is being described here, and how does the author prove it?
That's a good question. What is this superiority? The author proves it not by argument, but by weaving together a series of Old Testament scriptures, passages God specifically reserves for his son, never for an angel. For example, we hear, "You are my son, today I become your father," from Psalm 2.
Right, I know that one.
"And I will be his father, and he will be my son," from 2 Samuel 7. These are ancient prophecies about a divine royal figure, a son, not an angelic messenger. The term begotten or born here refers to a declaration of eternal sonship and royal anointing, not a physical creation at some point in time.
Ah, so it's about his eternal nature, not his beginning.
Exactly. These are unique divine titles God reserves exclusively for his son, signifying his inherent divine essence, his very nature, not just an appointed role.
That's a critical distinction. These titles are specifically for the son. So if Jesus has this unique sonship, what does that mean for the angel's true role and status in God's cosmic plan?
Precisely. Hebrews 1.7, quoting Psalm 104, clarifies their role. He makes his angels spirits and his servants flames of fire. Angels are fundamentally described as ministering spirits, essentially powerful servants or agents.
Servants.
Yes. They're created beings, finite in their power, acting as God's instruments, like winds or fire, to execute his commands. They demonstrate emotions, free will, look at Satan's fall, and they are wholly impure, but they are not the ultimate authority. Our deep dive sources remind us they're used for specific tasks, like delivering judgment in stories like Sodom and Gomorrah.
So powerful, yes, but they serve. Jesus reigns.
That's the bottom line.
But when the author turns back to the son, the language completely shifts, amplifying his uniqueness.
Absolutely. Hebrews 1.8-9, drawing from Psalm 45, addresses the son directly as, "O God." This is a profound, unequivocal declaration of his inherent deity.
Directly calling in God.
Yes. It proclaims, "Your throne, O God, will last forever and ever. A scepter of justice will be the scepter of your kingdom. You have loved righteousness and hated wickedness. Therefore God, your God, has set you above your companions by anointing you with the oil of joy." The Son has an eternal throne, a just kingdom, perfect moral character, and is uniquely exalted far above any companions, including angels. This isn't just honor, it's a statement of divine equality and eternal sovereignty.
It's fascinating how much the author weaves in from the Old Testament. Our sources highlighted the use of the Septuagint. How significant is that for understanding these texts and their original audience?
That's a truly crucial detail. The Septuagint was the Greek translation of the Hebrew Old Testament, widely used during Jesus' time and by New Testament writers. What's significant is that sometimes it's wording like in Deuteronomy 32.43, cited in Hebrews 1.6 as "let all God's angels worship him," differs from later Hebrew texts like the Masoretic text.
Okay, so slight differences in translation.
Right, and those differences often made certain connections or theological implications more explicit in Greek than they might seem in some Hebrew versions. The insight is that it provided a unique lens. The New Testament authors often saw the Old Testament through this lens, bridging the linguistic and theological gap. It made Jesus' divinity and supremacy even clearer to their Greek-speaking audience. It shows they found testimony to Jesus already woven into their sacred texts.
That makes a lot of sense. And the comparisons continue to build, further solidifying Jesus' ultimate authority over all creation.
Indeed, Hebrews 1:7 to 12, citing Psalm 102, addresses Jesus directly as Lord, a term in the Old Testament predominantly reserved for YHWH, God himself.
Lord as in Yahweh.
Yes. It says, "In the beginning, Lord, you laid the foundations of the earth, and the heavens are the work of your hands. They will perish, but you remain. They will all wear out like a garment. You will roll them up like a robe. Like a garment they will be changed, but you remain the same, and your years will never end." The insight here isn't just poetic. It's a direct identification of Jesus with the eternal God of Israel, the uncreated creator.
So, what's the deeper implication for us, knowing that Jesus is this eternal creator while everything else is, well, temporary?
This powerfully confirms Jesus as the eternal, unchangeable creator. Everything created is temporary, subject to decay. Eventually, it'll be rolled up like an old garment. Our sources remind us this world is increasingly fraught with decay, moral and otherwise, and it will ultimately pass away.
A sobering thought.
But Jesus remains the same, with years that will never end. That provides unwavering hope. The profound insight is that your ultimate stability isn't tied to the shifting sands of this world which is passing away, but to the constant, eternal, unchanging nature of Jesus himself. He's the anchor.
The anchor in a world of flux. I like that. And finally, the chapter culminates in a powerful statement about his ultimate victory. What's at stake here in this ultimate triumph?
This is truly the crescendo. Hebrews 1:13, quoting Psalm 110, another highly cited messianic psalm, pointing to Jesus, asks, "To which of the angels did God ever say, 'Sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet'?" This highlights Jesus' unique position of ultimate authority and triumph. Sitting at God's right hand signifies his redemptive work is fully complete, and he reigns victorious.
A position no angel was ever offered.
Never. No angel, no prophet, no created being. The insight. Jesus doesn't hope to win. He has won. He's just awaiting the full manifestation of that victory.
That's an incredible affirmation. Who are these enemies Jesus conquers, and what does this victory mean for our own daily struggles?
Our deep dive sources clearly identify three primary enemies for Christians: sin, death, and Satan. Jesus has overcome sin through his perfect sacrifice, he conquered death through his resurrection, and he will ultimately triumph over Satan.
So he's dealt with the big three.
Exactly. His completed work and reigning power offer immense comfort and hope, knowing all these enemies will be subdued beneath his feet. This provides incredible security for your faith. Your biggest battles have already been definitively fought and won by him.
And the angels, who were initially so revered, what's their final clarified purpose in this grand design, especially concerning us?
Hebrews 1:32 provides the definitive answer, bringing it all into sharp focus. Are not all angels ministering spirits sent to serve those who will inherit salvation? Their role is to serve God, and, by extension, to serve us, the people inheriting salvation.
Those who they serve us.
In service to God, yes. They are not to be worshipped or elevated above Christ. They're instruments of God's sovereign will, working on our behalf. This clarifies their subservient position and reinforces Jesus' supreme, unique status. The powerful insight here is that you are not alone. Divine assistance orchestrated by Christ is actively engaged on your behalf.
What an incredible journey through just one chapter, Hebrews chapter 1. We've seen how this ancient text masterfully establishes Jesus not merely as a great prophet, but as the eternal divine Son of God, utterly superior to angels, the creator and sustainer, and our reigning victorious King.
Connecting this to the bigger picture, this profound understanding of Jesus' identity is really the bedrock of our faith. It offers unshakable hope. It empowers us to face challenges, knowing our ultimate stability comes not from fleeting circumstances, but from an unchanging, all-powerful God who has definitively secured our salvation through his Son.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? Take a moment to reflect. How does recognizing Jesus as the radiance of God's glory and the exact representation of his being change your perception of him? Does understanding his eternal, unchanging nature provide a different, maybe more profound kind of stability in your life, especially when the world feels increasingly unstable?
And this raises an important question, too. If angels are ministering spirits sent to serve those inheriting salvation, how might embracing that truth impact how you view your own spiritual journey? Knowing divine assistance orchestrated by Christ is actively engaged for you. Does it alter your sense of security and purpose? Perhaps prompt a fresh perspective on the challenges you face.
Let this deep dive leave you with this final thought. If all creation and even the very angels serve the Son, then how might our own lives better reflect His ultimate sovereignty and boundless grace in the way we live, act, and trust? Thank you for joining us on the deep dive. We hope this conversation has given you valuable insights and maybe ignited a desire to explore these profound truths even further.